What is up, everybody? Resale Renegade here at ResaleRenegade.com. Check out the link in the description below. Links to the website. Lots of cool stuff there. So sorry about missing the video yesterday. I laid down for a 2-hour nap because I hadn't slept on Friday night, and I basically slept for 14 hours. I'm guessing that the 2 and 3 hour per night sleep schedule has been getting to me. But I'm back and refreshed and ready to go at it another maybe week or two or something like that before I have to crash out for an entire 14 hours. But today I've had a bunch of questions on this topic, and so I thought I would address this topic just as a basic overview. And I've been putting the video off for a little while because I wanted to give you guys like a really in-depth perspective, but I've kind of come to realize that everybody's business is different, and really what I do may or may not apply to what you're doing, or certain aspects might and might not. So there's not any way that I can really go super in depth with this. I can just kind of relay the information that I have and let you take it as normal. But before we get into the topic, I want to give a disclaimer. I'm not a CPA, I'm not an attorney, I don't play one on the internet, I don't do anything like that. This isn't financial advice, legal advice, anything like that. So what you do with your money, your company, and your business, that's on you. I claim no liabilities for that. If what I'm telling you right now is completely just information, well, take it at your own risk. The only reason why I give those kind of disclaimers is because you never know on the internet these days. So the information that I'm about to give you, I got from a CPA, and that's actually my first recommendation. The first thing that I would recommend anybody do if you're going to be starting a serious business and getting your stuff in order is sit down with a CPA. Even if it costs you $100, $150 for a consultation, sit down with a CPA, listen to what they have to say, and then go home and put your business together like that. Your financial books need to be in order. And then I would recommend even going back to them at the end of the year, giving them all the crap that they told you to do, and letting them do your taxes. And that's, again, going to cost maybe $150, $200 or something like that, but you can write that off next year too. And that's the advantage to having a CPA. You get told the items that you can write off. I never would have known that I could write off my actual preparation of my taxes from last year in this year's taxes unless I'd gone to the CPA. And there's a lot of benefit to seeing somebody who does it professionally rather than trying to lump through it and make it work and figure it out on your own and make mistakes and get audited, and then it costs you a bunch more money. So that would be my recommendation. So the topic of the video is accounting, bookkeeping, that kind of thing. And a lot of people have asked me about it and what I use to keep track of my books, or how I do it, that kind of thing. And the answer to that question, I guess, is one, I use Outright to keep track of my books, and I do month in, month out accounting on a cash basis. So what does all that crap mean? First of all, the program that I use is called Outright, and it's a bookkeeping software that you can actually get. It's either or. $100 if you go to outright.com. I'll post a link to it in the description below. If you get the full version, it's actually a lot better if you're running like a serious business, because it ends up giving you all the tax forms. It breaks down your Schedule C by tax category. It gives you like a lot more stuff. If you're just getting started, you can actually get the free version by logging into your eBay account, going to the App Center, and then searching for Outright. And that one's got it's got less features, but it's good enough to get you going. The advantages that I've found with it are that it automatically imports just about everything that I do. Anything from my bank account is automatically imported into there. So anytime I spend money at, let's say, Goodwill, it automatically comes out as an expense, and I've tagged that credit authorization string or whatever it is as a cost of goods sold. So every time I spend money at that Goodwill, it just automatically categorizes it as cost of goods sold. It sends it off to my expense category, deducts it, and I basically have to do nothing. And that's kind of why I do it, because it also does the same thing with eBay and Amazon. So anytime I sell anything through eBay or Amazon, it automatically calculates all the stuff. It takes the eBay fees and throws those in expenses, and it takes the revenue that I generated and puts it in income, and it breaks it all down to income, expenses. It takes care of everything. Now, what I used to do was I would keep track of everything in an Excel spreadsheet, and I would say, okay, I bought this, and I bought this, and I bought this, and I'd write out a big old laundry list of items that I bought, and I'd say I bought it for this much, this much, this much, and then when whatever it was would sell, I'd have to go back through my Excel spreadsheet and find that item, finish off the line item for it and say it sold for this much, this is how much my fees were, that kind of thing. Then I'd have to add it all up, and it literally took hours and hours of time. And it was, I mean, great for if you're doing like a really, really small amount of volume. But the thing that kind of brought me around to my month in, month out type of accounting is when I started getting into storage lockers really heavy. And the reason for that is because I would buy a storage unit, and if I was doing it in the old way that I was doing it, I would have to, I mean, it would take 200 line items to inventory out of the storage unit, and I would have to go through it every single item and say this is what I bought it for as a cut of whatever the entire unit was. So if I spent $150 on the unit and there was 100 pieces in the unit, I'd spend, you know, $1.50 on each item. And I would go through and all the way down, and it was a mess. It was a nightmare. At the end of the year, I went to the tax guy, and the tax guy was just like, what are you doing? So I sat down with my CPA, and I came up with a better way to do it, and he called it month in, month out accounting. I'm not sure if that's an industry term or what. You can Google it if you want, but basically how it goes is this. I spend, let's say I buy 2 storage units, and I spend $500 on each of them. My monthly expense then is $1,000, okay? Now, if within those storage units I sell maybe 20 or 30 items within that month, and they add up to $1,500 or something like that, I don't know, my monthly income is $1,500, okay? And then my $1,500 and my $1,000 kind of go together here, and I make a monthly income of $500, right? And this is a very dumbed down example, I know. So now I've still got a bunch of inventory though from these storage units. So the next month I spend another $1,000, and I sell another $1,500 out of this stuff, but I also sell an additional $500 of things from the item before. Well, now my month in is $2,000 revenue, and my month expense is $1,000, and I made $1,000 that month. So basically, the month in, month out style is monthly I spent this much, monthly I made this much, I take the expenses away from the income, and this is what my net profit was for the month. Okay, so with the month in, month out, it's a little bit confusing because you can actually go negative on your monthly income and come out positive in your yearly. I mean, you obviously can't do that every single month, but like the first 3 months of this year, I was negative in my business. But then it was because I was spending every dime that I made plus some, and later on those sales are picking up and I'm making those money. So I have a couple short months and a couple really tall months. And rather than taking every single specific item and figure out what I made net profit on, I take what I spend money on, winners and losses, and I say, okay, this is what I spent, and then I take everything that I sold, this is what I made as income, and then I take anything else like donations or any of that crap and I write them off as expenses or, you know, whatever. And the cool thing about Outright is it's on if you have a smartphone, you can actually download the app and you can type in manually expenses, like if you're out garage sailing or doing something like that, and you spend $50 on 5 Nerf guns and you overpaid, you can type that into your Outright application and it will automatically dump it into cost of goods sold as a cash transaction. Same thing if you're out at the flea market, let's say, and you sell some stuff, you can type that stuff in as income, it'll automatically add it in. You can also type in your mileage. So if let's say you're out thrifting one day, right, and you drive 100 miles round trip, you can type in, okay, mileage, I drove 100 miles today, and the day that you drove that mileage, it will actually link up to all of your receipts so that you have backup proof that you actually drove that many miles at the end of the year. So it really is very, very helpful for accounting. And the style that I use is very easy because I break it down per month. I don't break it down per item anymore. And really, I would recommend doing that if you don't want to spend hours and hours and hours doing bookkeeping. 1, see a CPA. 2, check out Outright. Post the link in the description below. 3, do month in, month out accounting. If you want to keep track of your items as inventory by yourself, for your own, personal pleasure or whatever, or maybe you're just getting the hang of it and trying to get a feel for what you're making per item kind of thing, then do that. But you don't necessarily have to do that to keep track of your books. At least I don't. I can't. I would have to hire a full-time bookkeeper and pay them 60 hours a week to do it at this point. And I just can't do it. So anyways, that is basically my overview of how I do my bookkeeping and my accounting in my business. If you have any questions, or if you have a way that you do your books or something like that, please share them in the comments section below, and maybe I can learn a little something from you, you can learn a little something from me. It'd be a good thing, and the community could benefit from that. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you like the video, please like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe button is right there, and I appreciate you guys watching. I will see you tomorrow.